This segment is sponsored by Abbott. It's very likely you know, work, or love someone who has diabetes. And according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, nearly 1 in 6 Americans now live with the condition. Dr. Susan Guzman is here to tell us more. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So, Doctor, tell us more about this initiative.
Abbott's powerful Above the Bias film, which can be seen at abovebias.com, is really about helping people see the world from the perspective of someone living with diabetes and experiencing stigma. We know that stigma is pervasive and is an often overlooked societal issue. From Abbott's survey, we learned that 7 in 10 people who live with diabetes experience diabetes stigma, and 75% say that they have heard an unwanted comment about their eating, their physical activity, or some other aspect of their management. And ultimately, we want to remove barriers like misconception and bias so that people feel better understood and supported and get the care that they need.
And so you just mentioned that common biases and misconceptions about diabetes can really impact a person's ability to get the care that they need. Can you expand a little bit more on that?
That we know that shame and stigma actually prevent people from seeking the care that they need. And that's why this Abbott's Above the Bias initiative is so important, that misconceptions and stereotypes can contribute to this reluctance. We learned from Abbott's survey that 25% of people who live with diabetes avoid sharing their diagnosis due to embarrassment, and 40% of people skipped a medical appointment due to shame or stigma.
And what are some examples of the diabetes bias that you guys have heard or seen?
A really common experience is for people being blamed for having diabetes as if it's self-inflicted. This ignores the important role of genetics and other factors that are simply out of our influence. Another way that stigma is often expressed is in social exclusion, like not inviting people to an activity or an event because of misunderstandings about what people can eat or not eat, do or not do. And also, just as part of regular social interactions, people will often experience insensitive comments or questions like being asked, "Should you be eating that?"
And how can we make sure that, in our daily lives, we make people living with diabetes feel supported? And how can we be advocates for them?
I think it's really important, and I urge everyone to recognize that these biases exist and to have empathy for people who live with diabetes. We all have an important role in dismantling diabetes stigma by self-awareness and taking action. I recommend we start with yourself, that we all have unconscious biases, and recognize there are common ways that blame and judgment can show up in the way we talk about and with people with diabetes. Have the courage to call it out when you hear it. Don't just ignore it. And that could be at home or at work or in your social media. And be curious. Learn the real facts about diabetes. And if you have someone in your life who lives with diabetes, ask how you can be more supportive. And I really encourage you to watch the Above the Bias film. It's a great way to understand and to be able to start a conversation.
And Dr. Guzman, where can people go to learn more about this initiative?
Abbott created this great website which has the film and other resources, and you can learn about the initiative at abovebias.com.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and be sure to watch more segments from Marketplace on News Channel 20.